Is the red zone offense more of a problem than the running game?
No, I think you can get by with the lack of great red zone offense, as long as you can play defense and run the ball. You can't do anything if you can't run the ball unless you have Tom Brady and those running backs that could catch all those screens. There's just, and I don't know if Dak's that kind of quarterback to excel in that short passing game. So I think specifically for this team, you should not team build anything else until you have a running game established.
So you're saying that
run game,
run game is more,
it's a critical
more of a
error
problem
right
than
now.
The red zone offense.
We've seen this team be good enough to go win a Super Bowl and win 12, 13 games with a bad red zone offense, but they can't do jack squat without a good running game.
That's fair.
Yeah. Right. Well, okay, Chieftain, take that one then.
It's a tough deal. I think part of your red zone issues are because you don't run the ball very well.
Yeah.
So, if you could run the ball, you'd probably solve at least a portion of your red zone issues. And so overarching, I do think that is still probably your biggest problem, but the red zone stuff is a huge issue. The good news is you don't expect to have sack, fumbles, and interceptions in the red zone week in, week out. But being able to score touchdowns is obviously extremely important. But I still think, man, if I could fix one thing, let's get this rushing attack going, and I think many of the problems would get solved just with that.
Wooly Bully.
Yeah, I was going to go red zone, but you swayed me there with we've seen this team struggle in the red zone, and we have. And I feel like that's a yearly issue, and maybe that's across the league. Teams are like, man, our red zone offense just isn't that good. But maybe I'm prisoner of the moment. I'm optimistic that this running game's trending in the right direction, and I think it's all because of the offensive line. And I will say, one of the things I didn't get to NFL True or Fart is this team better off just playing Tyler Smith at left tackle and TJ Bass there at guard. Because they were mauling people off the damn football. And Tyler Guyton, I think he's going to be a good player. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably not making that change. If he can play, he's my starter. I'm going to go through those growing pains. But I think the offensive line improving is going to help the running game improve as the season goes along.
I'm kind of concerned about this red zone offense. I kind of feel like that they're going to need to find a way to, with the guys they're missing, defense, especially in the next 3 weeks, maybe in the 6 weeks, with some of the other guys they're missing, got to find a way to score points. I don't think you can kick field goals, and I don't know if the defense is good enough to hold you in a bunch of these games with all the guys being out. So I have a concern. I think the running game can be better, but I'm worried about them getting down in the red zone and just not doing anything, not scoring any points.
No, it's a huge worry, and it's right up there near the top of the list, and maybe at the top of the list of biggest issues you have.
Yeah.
I just think your red zone problems would fix themselves to some extent if you could consistently run the ball better.
That's fair. Wooly Bully.
Yeah.
Is Overshown currently your best defensive player?
Yeah. With Mike out and no Tank, I think he's playing like the best defensive player right now. Yeah, I mean, he's got an unusual skill set there with his combination of the speed, but also he's seeing it now. And that was something on tape when I was watching him at Texas. Mm-hmm. He wasn't comfortable. He would over-pursue. He had the athleticism. He's figuring out this linebacker stuff. I think today, where you stand and who's going to line up against Detroit, I'd say yes.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think it's a no-brainer. Overshown's your best player. He's flying around all over the place. He makes plays in coverage. There's been times where they've tried to isolate him. It's like, oh, let's get a linebacker there's a play with the Giants and Malik Neighbors. It's third down. Yeah. Hey, let's isolate Neighbors on Overshown. We'll get ourselves an opportunity to move the sticks. And Overshown's like, nope, I'm too fast for you, and I bring you down immediately. Sorry, Malik Neighbors. So yeah, I think in coverage and as a run defender, he is. I mean, he's a game breaker, man.
To think it's possible that he has, made an equal impact on stopping the run as the opponents have, is that or anywhere close? If he is remedying this, and it's not just the Giants and Steelers are terrible, but it's that Mike Zimmer needed to put him in against New Orleans, and if that had happened, maybe the result could be significantly different. I would love it. I'd be surprised if he's having that much of an impact. I'm going to still say Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, I was wondering. Derek Eagleton this morning asked him this question. He said Diggs was still currently their best defensive player.
As long as he's covering, absolutely. But that play with Najee Harris where he gets dragged 5 yards.
Oh,
just taken for a ride.
Trayvon Diggs against the run, there is still just so much like I don't really want to be a part of this.
He doesn't read it well. Like it's intentional. He doesn't want to. He wants it's business decisions. I will make sure I'm a step slow. My angle won't be bad. Somebody else get in here, and then I'll act like I'm around it or whatever. He wants nothing to do with tackling anybody.
But as a cover guy, like he tried to bait Fields on that one play. I think it was to Pickens, and he was playing off. He's like, please, so I can jump this and intercept it. Almost had himself one against Pittsburgh.
682 says Jordan Lewis probably the best right now.
Lewis has been playing.
He deserves.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going there. Hey, real quick, if I could, before I get back to the questions, Cowboys I got a note from one of my gang of 7 who they worked out.
Oh, sweet.
Wide receivers, Chase Cota, Cota, Cota. Did I say that right? Mims, we mentioned.
Yeah.
Dante Pettis.
Oh yeah, Dante Pettis, I believe, is a former
Gator?
University. I thought he was Washington. Husky.
Oh yeah, I think
Husky.
you're probably right about that.
Seth Williams. Those were all wide receivers.
He might have been with the Rams for a little bit.
And then Max Dugan was the quarterback. Shaka Toney on an edge, and Luigi
49ers.
Valine, VLI.
I've never heard of him. Shaka Toney I've heard of.
Yeah, Shaka Toney was with us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was already here as an edge, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shaka Toney, I liked his tape coming out of Penn State a few years back.
Yeah, but he was at training camp and they let him go.
He was, 2 years ago.
Coda, Mims, Pettis, Williams, Max Dugan, and then Shaka Toney and Luigi Valine. I think is how you say that name. Valine.
Pettis is an interesting guy. He's bounced around the league a little bit.
He has. Okay.
Son of Gary Pettis. Pretty cool.
Wanted to make sure we knew that. Okay. Final question here for you guys. Dawson.
Yeah. Rangers hitting coach back in the day.
Back in the day. Should the fans be concerned that Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott are having trouble getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb in the second half of games?
Probably not. No, I think it's just a result of the teams realizing how pathetic the Cowboys are everywhere else on the field, and they can focus their coverage to CD a bit more. That's what I would assume it is. I think last year it showed. The Cowboys are really good at figuring out ways to get him the ball for all 4 quarters. I think this year the offense is just more compromised. There's more pressure on Dak. He has less time to let things develop.
How about you, Zach?
Can you repeat the question, please? I saw Hufunga's out a month for the Steelers or the Niners, and I was not paying attention.
Should the fans be concerned that Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott are having trouble getting CeeDee Lamb the ball in the second half of games?
The only reason I would say no is shout out to RJ Cho with Blogging the Boys. And to this point of the season, it's pretty much comparable numbers to what it was a year ago. And he ended up having a career year. So I still think this is one of those things where, we've seen early in the game, like the focus is get CeeDee Lamb the football. They've just got to find a way to carry that over all 4 quarters. I think that will happen. Like by the end of the season, we're not going to be worried about CD and his target share. Like the numbers will even out by the end of the year.
I think it's something to worry about because it's something that you have to. It has to get fixed. You're not going to be beating teams without CeeDee Lamb in the second half of games. You're going to have to find ways creatively to get him open. He's of course going to command a bunch of attention, and hopefully a breakout game from Tolbert and some moments from Turpin can maybe have defenses respect them a little bit more here moving forward. But ultimately, CeeDee Lamb is far and away your best offensive player, and if he's going to be rendered useless in the second half of games, you will win very little of those games.
Can I get one more to you, Dawson, real quick?
100%.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
How about you, Chief? Is it now more critical than ever that the front office trade for a major defensive end?
No, I don't think it's overly critical at all. I think they should be trading away their defensive end. It's Micah Parsons. I don't think this is there's not a defensive end in the world that's going to change the situation that you have at hand right now. So I don't want to give up assets to somebody who's probably going to be pricey at the same time, all just to, again, maybe not even win your own division. That doesn't seem like it's worth it.
How about you, Wooly?
I think it would depend on who the defensive end is at. Like, I'm still not against making this football team better. If you can add a guy that's going to be controllable for future. Like, I wouldn't do anything for a rental piece. But a guy that's going to be here when you're looking at DeMarcus Lawrence probably not being here next year. Defensive end's an area of need for the future of this football team. But I don't think it's like, man, they've got to make a move because I still don't view this team as a Super Bowl contender right now.
Dawson?
Yeah, it's got to be for a long-term player. You know, it's got to be because you need all of your draft assets. Like what we're trading with, that's got to be a young player who hits. Now, if you can give me the hit for a guy who's got 2 or 3 years left on his rookie deal in a trade where I'm not giving up my first round pick, I'd love it. I don't see a lot of teams rushing to move guys like that in that situation.
I think the fact that you're getting Parsons back after the bye probably will not make them not trade for a guy. But I kind of felt like that maybe that they would be in a situation where, they're down guys for 6 games when you're talking about Nealon and then talking about Lawrence.
Yeah.
But with Micah coming back after the bye, they'll probably dance with the guys that they got right now. That was my guess.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot for the way they team build to make something drastic happen. But it's not all hopeless. It's just a matter of time before things come around for this football team and this front office. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.